In 2011, Japan was hit by an earthquake that was not only the country's most powerful ever recorded, but also the fourth deadliest quake in history. And today, we are taking a look at the top 10 deadliest earthquakes in history. Starting off our list at number 10, we have the 1822 New Madrid earthquake. On December 16, 1822, in New Madrid, Missouri, a magnitude 7.2 earthquake struck. In 1923, the Great Kanto earthquake struck in Japan. It had a magnitude of 7.9 and was one of the most violent earthquakes in Japanese history. At the time, Tokyo and Yokohama were two of the largest cities in the entire world. So when the earthquake struck, it really devastated these areas. The earthquake caused massive fires to break out, and over 40,000 buildings were burnt to the ground. Not much is known about this earthquake that struck the Roman Empire in 79 AD, but it is believed that the earthquake may have played a role in the decline of the empire. It is believed that the earthquake had a magnitude of 7.0 to 8.0. On July 28, 1976, a magnitude 7.5 earthquake struck in Tangshan, China. This earthquake is considered to be the deadliest earthquake in the 20th century. It is believed that between 240,000 and 660,000 people lost their lives because of this earthquake. The earthquake struck at around 1 a.m. in the morning, which meant that almost everyone was asleep at the time. Most of the buildings that collapsed did so while people were sleeping. The government of China has been heavily criticized for the way that they handled the situation, initially tried to cover up the disaster, and downplayed the number of casualties. But as word of the disaster spread, many foreign governments offered their support. While it did not cause any major damage, it did happen in the same year that Mount Vesuvius erupted and destroyed the Roman city of Pompeii. On February 4, 1556, a magnitude 8.0 earthquake struck in the town of Xinping in China. It is believed that over 830,000 people lost their lives because of this earthquake. Once again, not much is known about this earthquake because it happened long before modern technology was invented. However, we do know that the earthquake had a significant impact on the surrounding area. The earthquake caused large cracks to appear in the ground, and it also triggered landslides. Following the earthquake, the emperor at the time gave orders to repair the damaged buildings and care for those who were injured. But unfortunately, many people were left homeless and had no access to food or water. This led to many more deaths in the weeks and months following the earthquake. It is believed that the earthquake may have weakened the city's infrastructure, which may have contributed to its destruction from the volcano. Another theory is that the shock from the earthquake may have triggered the volcanic eruption. This is because earthquakes and volcanic eruptions often happen in the same areas. While we may never know exactly what caused the destruction of Pompeii, we do know that the earthquake and the eruption changed the course of history. It is believed that over 140,000 people lost their lives because of this earthquake. On February 130 AD, a massive earthquake struck in the ancient kingdom of Gwangju. On July 8, 802, a massive earthquake struck in Shanxi, China. The earthquake had a magnitude of 7.5 and is the second deadliest earthquake in Chinese history. The earthquake caused 12 provinces and 18 counties to be affected. At the time, China was ruled by the Tang dynasty, and it is estimated that the earthquake killed over 300,000 people. To make things worse, following the earthquake, there were many aftershocks, which caused even more damage. Because the earthquake was so devastating, the Emperor of China at the time built temples in memory of those who were lost. The earthquake had a magnitude of 7.8 and is now known as the deadliest earthquake in Korean history. The earthquake caused a lot of damage to the capital city of Sabi, which is now known as Seoul. But amazingly, the city was rebuilt within 10 years. Fortunately, the earthquake also led to a famine in the region, which lasted for 10 years. This was because the earthquake damaged the irrigation systems and destroyed many crops. After the earthquake, King Yuri of Goryeo ordered the construction of new irrigation systems. He also distributed seeds and tools to the farmers to help them rebuild. The United States had just entered World War I at the time, so a lot of American military forces were in Japan. The American community in Japan was one of the first responders to the disaster, and they helped put out fires and tended to the injured. This is now known as the New Madrid earthquake. It is considered to be the largest earthquake in the history of the contiguous United States. The earthquake had a magnitude of 7.0 and is now known as the deadliest earthquake in the 21st century. More than 220,000 people lost their lives because of this earthquake. What made this earthquake so deadly was the fact that Haiti is already a very poor country. So they didn't have the supplies or resources needed to help those who survived the earthquake. After the earthquake, many people were left homeless and struggling to find food and water. It's estimated that around 3 million people were affected by the earthquake. Even today, many people in Haiti are still trying to rebuild their lives. After the earthquake, many organizations came together and raised over $5 billion for Haiti. However, there was a lot of controversy surrounding this money. Many people felt that the money was not being distributed fairly, or that it was being stolen. The epicenter of the earthquake was near New Madrid, which is why it was given this name. On December 26, 2004, a magnitude 9.1 earthquake struck off the coast of Sumatra, Indonesia. This was the third largest earthquake ever recorded. Just like the earthquake in Haiti, this earthquake also triggered a tsunami. The tsunami caused 14 countries to be affected. These countries include Indonesia, Sri Lanka, India, Malaysia, the Maldives, Myanmar, Thailand, Somalia, and Kenya. In total, over 227,000 people lost their lives because of this earthquake and tsunami. 2004 was also a very devastating year for the Asian continent, because right before the earthquake and tsunami, there was a severe outbreak of the SARS virus. Then, just a few months later, the Indian Ocean earthquake and tsunami happened. So it was a very hard hit for the people living in Asia. After the event, many countries sent aid to the areas that were affected. Even North Korea sent aid to Indonesia, even though North Korea rarely gives aid to other countries. There were around 10 aftershocks following this earthquake, and there were many buildings that were destroyed, along with some chimneys. Luckily, there was no loss of life during this time. However, when the earthquake hit, everyone in the area thought it was the end of the world. This was because it was the first major earthquake that hit the United States since European settlers arrived. So they had no idea what to do. They didn't even know what had happened. Next up at 9, we have the 1556 Shanxi earthquake. On January 23, 1556, a massive earthquake struck the North China Plain in Shanxi, China. The earthquake had a magnitude of between 7.7 and 8.2, and it was the deadliest earthquake in human history. Over 830,000 people lost their lives due to this earthquake. The earthquake reportedly caused all of the houses to collapse within a 100-mile radius. Tang Shanzu, who was an official for the Chinese government, reported that more than 100,000 houses collapsed in the city of Shan alone. Even though this earthquake happened over 400 years ago, scientists have very little information on it. The biggest reason for this is that there were no seismographs in use at the time. So all we have to go off of is stories that were told or written about the earthquake. Researchers say that this is one of the hardest natural disasters to study because there is so little information on it. We still don't know exactly how strong the earthquake actually was. And we don't know exactly how far away from the epicenter these deaths occurred. Next up at number 8, we have the 1923 Great Cantu earthquake. Number 7 leads us to the 2010 Haiti earthquake. On January 12, 2010, a massive earthquake struck Haiti. Next up at 6, we have the 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake. Coming up to 5, we have the 79 AD Roman earthquake. Next up at 4, we have the 130 AD Gwangju earthquake. Coming up to 3, we have the 802 Shanxi earthquake. Next up at 2, we have the 1976 Tangshan earthquake. And finally, coming up to our top spot today, we have the 1556 Xinping earthquake. Well, that is all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, and I will see you in the next video.